Love the way they started the game. Sometimes when you run this flea flicker, and I'm showing this play because I want to show this whole sequence of the first series. So they do a great job. They get the PI. I think they get the ball down like the 31, 32-yard line. Okay, so you have this big play to start off the game. But watch what happens for the rest of this series. So the first thing you do is you run against their base defense. Okay, we talked about it. You can run against base. You're gonna average 2 yards a carry, right? It's gonna be just a slog fest because when they got those three guys in the middle, they got Grady Jarrett, they got Calais Campbell. Those guys are specialists at defeating single blocks. Okay, you can't get a lot of double teams in this situation. They're linebackers who shoot gaps in nickel. All of a sudden, they don't have to shoot, right? They can sit back and make plays. You have your Bud Duprees of the world against your Luke Musgraves. That's not an even matchup yet. This is a problem for the Green Bay Packers, and they start off the game, their first run, base, gets stuff for a couple yards. AJ is running hard. Listen, for people out there saying that AJ is not running hard, he has his hot and cold moments, but you gotta know what he's good at. You got to put him in situations to be successful. Listen, I know the Packers aren't watching this show and going like, we shouldn't have run base so much, but as an ex-player, ex-coach, when you watch this stuff and you go, listen, they're going to be better than our guys up front at single blocks. If you play base defense and try to run, if you put them in base defense and try to run the ball, you're going to lose more than you win. And then everyone's surprised where AJ's struggling. It's like, what's the surprise? We averaged 3.2 yards per carry without Jordan Love's scrambles. Why? The same reason we did last week. Average 2.9 yards per carry if you take out a scramble, because we don't do a good job of blocking single blocks. The Falcons did a great job here, so they drop. So we're looking for Luke Musgrave across the middle. They drop the end. Gets in the way. So now we got a third down. False start by Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker starting in place for David Bakhtiari. It happens. Now we got 3rd and 12. And Bud Dupree gets off the ball on the screen real fast here, kind of gets his play screwed up. This is something to look at later on, not only this game, but the rest of the games. You watch this. Bud's watching, obviously, the center, Josh Myers. When Josh's butt drops, head comes up, ball's gone, he's timing this. So as the game goes on, as the season goes on, the Packers need to find a solution for this. This is a very difficult thing for a number of reasons. The reason that a lot of teams decide to have the guard turn around and do the wave is because you're putting Josh Myers in a bad position because he has to reorient himself, his body and everything, and also snap the ball. And this, from a timing standpoint, is just really, really messed up. Like, if anybody stood up right now, put your head between your legs, then put your head back up, drop your butt, and try to throw something back behind you. That whole timing sequence is different, right? You can't do as much with that. You bob your head, you do the left to right. You can do all these different things that make it a little more difficult for the defensive end to time it. This is actually quite easy if they've been watching tape. See how fast Bud Dupree gets off here. Bad situation. Happens fast. He's gone. So they start off with a great play, bad plays, penalties, out of field goal range. Give the ball back to the Atlanta Falcons. We got a 2nd and 1 look now, and I just want to show the first play they give to Drake London, who hadn't had a catch. He gets 9 yards. Kid had a really good day. I love this motion. This motion essentially turns, it's like a speed option, like a jet sweep, and it turns this tight end into like a garbage guy who's essentially, they're zoning off 3-on-3 left guard, left tackle, or zoning off D tackle, defensive end, linebacker. And now they've got this tight end coming in to kind of clean up the garbage. So we run a TE game here, and he just takes a shot on Kenny, knocks him over, and it allows Jake Matthews to rise up to the linebacker. And what a play that, schematically you think, oh, we look pretty good here. He just pushes Devondre Campbell out the way. They get a first down, 6-yard carry. It's a really, really good scheme. You see the Niners started to use it a couple of years ago. It's a lot of teams are starting to use it now. This is one of those innovations in the run game that I think the Green Bay Packers could certainly look at and say, why aren't we doing more of this? You see Kenny Clark here taking on the rookie left guard. Leads to the pick by Rasul Douglas. This is what I'm talking about. We're just better than them at these kind of critical positions. And so why are we messing around with any of this stuff? I mean, we got 3 guys. We got 2 guys at the quarterback, and in sign of things to come. I think that's Van Ness up top, or maybe that's Enigbari, but they're already over the top of the quarterback. But pressure equals picks. Great job by Kenny Clark. Excellent play. We go back here. Go back into a base run for a 3-yard gain. Just a tough way. It's a tough way to run. You're trying to run a stretch zone against a 3-yard gain, or against a base look. So you do a pin and pull. And Luke Musgrave is going to be a good player, and he certainly did some good things in the passing game. But technically, he's just not where he needs to be. So what happens? He doesn't take a first step, false steps here, turns his shoulders, lets the guy penetrate, forces 31 out wide, flat. So now he's running to his shoulder pads towards the line, towards the sideline. Rashid can't get out. Or excuse me, that's Yash, because we're switching people mid-series. That's the other thing. Let's just talk about that real quick. As a coaching staff, I can't fathom why you would start switching out left tackles. You already are missing your best player in David Bakhtiari. Why would you switch out players mid-series? In all my years of playing, coaching, just being around the sport, switching in between series, I never really understood. It's like, make a decision and live with it, right? Whoever earned it during the week, let him play. Now, it seemed like Rasheed Walker had earned it. Now they're playing Rasheed Walker in the U Bacon package, the extra tight end package. So I thought maybe in some situations they were just trying to give him the opportunity to run that, but it wasn't the case. They would just switch in Yash. You start switching these guys mid-series. I just don't know from a performance or rhythm standpoint how that makes any sense at all. But maybe they know something I don't. Great job by the Falcons here of IDing this, of masking a blitz that they used last week, double A gap blitz. Linebackers were walked up in the A's. We had 2 wide 3s and 2 wide 9s. Now they have linebacker up in the plus A, D tackle in the minus A, and now they're just going to send the linebacker into the B gap. And we've got enough people to pick this up, but Dave Bakhtiari is not in the game. So Rasheed Walker, instead of squeezing this, because 27 is going to pick up the defensive end, lets him go. Jordan Love's expecting that to get picked up, because we're going to try to get the ball out fast here. We're going to have 27 kind of chip and get out. And now, got to punt the ball again. 3rd and 7 look here. And the reason I bring this one up is I just thought, 3rd and 7, the Falcons obviously make a mistake here. Preston Smith is lined up in the back, is lined up as a linebacker. Let me go back to this. Sorry, guys. And ends up coming late. This play takes a little bit too long. Great hit. Great presence by Desmond Ridder here, obviously getting rid of the ball to Jonnu Smith. Jonnu had a good game. He's a good player. Come back from the Patriots. He's going to be a little more featured now. Kyle Pitts isn't getting a lot of action in this offense right now. I don't know why. I have my theories, but Jonnu Smith's like a true tight end, can run and pass block. Not trying to overuse him. Now, this is one of the problems that happened the entire game. Caleb McGarry got beat really bad last week. Jake Matthews got beat bad last week. And one of the reasons they got beat poorly is because, in particular, let's just look at the right tackle. He turns early, turns his shoulders to the sidelines, and is hoping that you'll just run by like we are right here. I think it's Enigbari. You see, he's 5 yards behind the quarterback when the quarterback throws the ball. This is a completely wasted rush. And from a lane discipline standpoint, I don't know if the defensive line coach is teaching this, but I'm just telling you as an offensive lineman, as a tackle, you are hoping that the guys do this every play. The worst thing you could do is make the guy turn and then attack his inside shoulder, collapse the pocket, and make Desmond Ridder feel his presence. So he has to move off his spot. He has to pump the ball. He has to tuck it and run. He has to do something other than have a completely clean pocket because you're 5 yards upfield, right? And this is either being allowed or being taught. I'm not sure which one. Makes no sense. It's not about the play necessarily. It's about how we're kind of going about our business. Savage here. Great. You knocked the guy. He had a 9-yard game. We're trying to talk to him. I think you just get back to the huddle. Tough day all around for the defense. This goal line stand was fantastic. So we get the intercept. We get the pass interference. They get 1st and goal like on the half instead of the 1 yard line. Great job with pressure there. We get a good run stuff. A lot of people showed up right here. Enagbare knocks the tight end off the ball. I think that was TJ Slayton doing a good job knocking the guard off. And then we get the next play, Wyatt. Yeah, it was Slayton. The next play, I think Wyatt beats Caleb McGarry backside here with the arm over, gets a little pressure. Great job. Has to get rid of the ball early. Fantastic, fantastic job. Now we get into the nickel run, okay? And so for everybody sitting at home, what's the difference? What's the difference? 4-man line essentially versus a 5-man line. Okay, so you're going to run a 4-2, they're going to run their 5-2. If you run their 4-2, we're going to get 2 double teams. Their linebackers like to shoot. We get up second level. And this isn't a very clean run, but this is like, when you talk about A.J. Dillon's not running hard, it's like, come on, guys. Guy's running hard. We got people working for him, 9-yard gain. But now we go back to a base run. You see the base run here. You got your 3 down linemen. You got your 2 defensive ends. You got your 2 linebackers up. We got some extra people at the line of scrimmage here because of the proximity of everybody else on the screen for the offense, okay? DeGuara is going to learn a lesson right here that we like to call tuck your ears in. Back in the day when we were teaching kids how to pass rush at UNLV, my best friend in the world, we call him Coach. We used to joke to each other. I'd tag him right in the ear sometimes when he tried to pass rush because he'd leave it exposed. Hey, man, you got to tuck your ears in. All right? That basically means, like, it's about to happen. You better get ready. Okay? DeGuara is having to run from the backside because this isn't a tough guy thing. This is you're running from the right guard underneath flat, turning the corner and having to meet 55, who's like a 245-pound grown man linebacker, getting a 5-yard head start, and then about to jack you right in the jaw, okay? So, hey, DeGuara, tuck your ears in, man. This is going to be a bad contact hit for you. He gets absolutely lit up, and Dillon gets stopped. And again, it's like, why isn't AJ running hard? Well, you're giving your fullback, who's new at the position, an underneath run, has to go outside the play side tight end, and basically gets a one-step head start, and then turns around and sees 55 coming downhill like a damn raging bull. It's a tough sport. It's a tough sport. Guys can, Lorenzo Neal can do it. I don't know if DeGuara can do it right now. 3rd and 1. Great little play. You see Musgrave's speed here. Okay, so they ran the double A, and now we got on the 3rd and 10 look. We get it picked up with the running back, and because they bring extra, because they're a little bit out of sorts, because they drop a defensive tackle, now Jordan Love's like, all right, I'm out of here. And this is the young quarterback, huge run. There's a 20-yard run. I mean, that bumps up to our running stats to 4 yards of carry from 3.2. Talk about backside blocks. And we talked about if we're going to be in nickel runs, if you want to have success versus these teams, because they do a lot of movement, their linebackers shoot. When you get a double team, like on the backside of this, we have a tackle tight end double team. They're going to the backer, okay? If the tackle comes off, the tight end has to stay. Now, I know that, like, if this is Calais Campbell, I know that he's better than Luke Musgrave. But if you have a double team, we got to be able to stay on the double. This can't happen. Okay? You ask, hey, AJ, why aren't you running? Well, because Calais Campbell's 6'8", 320 pounds, and he just tackled me. He just basically shed 2 blockers. It's not a good job blocking. Now, you want to see a good job blocking? Perimeter blocking. Take 2 here. It's a great job. 1, he's not even blocking that guy. He's really getting to the second. Just gets a hand on 55. Is that Torrey? Just a great, it's like little things in the game that make the big differences, right? You don't even notice that. But you put in the effort, you get the guy off the spot, you move the cornerback back 5 yards, then you just get a hand to move the linebacker from the 5-yard line down to the 4-yard line. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes to get Jayden Reed his first touchdown. It's fantastic. Fantastic effort. This is what I was talking about. I just talked through this. I'm going to show it again. Okay. This is what I thought was going to happen all day. I thought we were going to see their two tackles facing the wrong direction, watching their quarterback get hit all day. Right? Van Ness gets one here. I think this is Preston on the other side. Both guys are beat. This seemed like an easy solution because I think we're too deep at both defensive end or outside linebacker positions that could decisively beat both players on any given play. Didn't happen. I was surprised it didn't happen. So Van Ness gets one there, and then they run a little stunt game, which you love to see. So Van Ness gets another good play here and again, when you think about Van Ness and you think about, what is he capable of doing, the more you get, we did this with Quay last year. The more you get those guys on like stunts and dogs and things that are like predetermined, and it's like you put them in, hey, guided missile, right? Let them use their athleticism, and that's the way you get the feel for the game. I think that helps those guys a lot. This is what I'm talking about, though, when you talk about break and contain, okay? So Sean Gary goes inside. I don't know if they're running a TE. I'm not sure what they're doing. But the fact is you got 5 rushers, and we end up hitting each other, going down, giving Ridder, allows him to break contain. So he goes from, it should be 3rd and 20. Now it's 3rd and 15. Preston's got this guy beat, but they still have time to make the play. So is it any different if it's 3rd and 20 versus 3rd and 15? I know it's a long distance, but these yards, like the yards matter. You can't just act like they don't matter. Oh, they just made a good play. Drake London makes a play in zone coverage here. Jaire's going to get some stuff, some feelings in the media because I think Drake was trying to show him up a couple times. A lot of the stuff was against zone, but it is what it is. It's part of the position. We've seen this before, right? In Green Bay, we've seen this guy before. Whoop, whoop. And I'm talking about, defensively, we're missing some tackles. This kid is something different now. There's been a handful of guys, Percy Harvin. There's a handful of guys that just make people look silly when they got the ball in their hands. Bijan Robinson is a different kind of cat. He is really good. Here we go with contain issues again. Where's the contain issue here? We drop Preston. We loop outside. And instead of staying outside contain, we square up on the tackle, 94. Let's Ridder go out. Rashawn Gary's, he's running for his life, but it's a little play that makes a big difference. Whether it's field position, whether it ends up in a score, it's like the way you do business shows you. Maybe it's not the outcome there, but it's how you're playing. It's who you are. You're putting it on tape. Go back to offense here, and this is what you like about the nickel situation, okay? The nickel situation, they do a lot of slanting, a lot of movement. If you catch them on the backside, so we run the split flow here with the tight end on the top next to the right tackle. You catch them, get Bud low, cut through, easy run. Good job. Good job picking it up. Now, I highlighted the linebacker in green because we pull here. They slant, tight end down blocks. Musgrave just does a good job. This is all you do. You just pick up the guy that's in your way. He's supposed to be going to the other linebacker, but if this guy shows up in your path, that's who you take. Zach Tom, who's not used to pulling from the right tackle position, has to make this adjustment, turn tighter, block 55, and we leave the running back on the safety or the corner, or this is a corner, excuse me. We don't leave the running back for the big linebacker, the big bad linebacker who can make the play. Now, this is one of those things that we talk about. This play only works on paper. What do I mean by that? Well, let me show you. When you're asking Josh Myers to block a 2-eye on a toss play, and the 2-eye or the shit, or what you call it, whatever you want, He's in the gap. It's Grady Jarrett. Josh Myers, can you please reach Grady Jarrett on a toss play to the left? You have no help. We're going to send the guard out to help the tackle, and we're going to send the guard and the tackle up to the linebacker. How's that sound, Josh? I'll get it done. Well, I drew it up on paper, so I know it's going to work because it worked on paper. It only works on paper. Grady beats him easily, ends up making the play, and people go, what's wrong with Josh Myers? Josh Myers can't make that play. I don't know if Jason Kelce can make that play. That's Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett is a dog in this league. And you're going to try to reach him as a 2-eye on a toss play? This isn't Nebraska in the 90s, man. That play only works on pass. That's just not smart. This is a dime pass by Jordan Love. We talked about it before. Jordan Love goes 14 for 25 for 230 for only 151 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And he's like 14 for 25 really isn't that good or bad. It's a good day, but it's not a great day. You want to be, I think 70% is the new criteria. But he's not turning the ball over. And he throws passes like this, and you go, man, the kid's got something. I mean, he's not there yet, and we'll see later. There's some things you go, you really need to clean this up. But he's definitely got something. Okay. This is where we're talking about whether it's scheme, whether it's in the position room. Enagbare goes about, let's be courteous and say 260 pounds. Jake Matthews and their new left guard, the second-round pick, they probably go cumulatively. Let's just be generous and say they're on a diet. So cumulatively, they're only 630 pounds, maybe 650. So you got 650 or 630 pounds playing against a 260-pound defensive end that they want to double. I'm good with that, actually, because I go, Enagbare puts 2 hands in the ground. He plays with leverage. He can make this a problem. But if you're going to tell me he's going to stand up in the B gap or play like a 4 technique or a 4-eye in the B gap and ask me what I think is going to happen, he's going to get blown off the ball. I mean, it's ridiculous. Of course this guy's going to run wild. It's like this isn't the fault of, Quay getting off a block or Devondre getting. Quay had 17 or 18 tackles this game. We can talk about all this other stuff, but it's like if you're going to play a stand-up 260-pound guy and he's going to get slip blocked because he's playing like a 4-4-eye B gap, I can't really tell from this, but he's going to get double teamed by like 650 pounds of angry dude. You're not going to win. You're going to get run over. We're upfield again, Enagbare. Listen, the thing that is sometimes when you lose a game, you're trying to figure out like why are you losing, right? So you're harsh in some of this stuff. But right now, at this you could see it. You could see that Kaleb McGary's already turned. Okay. And he's close to him. And so when you're close, now I can really get that power press and press his inside shoulder. And I can press him towards the quarterback, and I don't have to go upfield. So I could literally just run down the 39-yard line straight down towards the other sideline. And Ridder has nowhere to go. We don't lose contain. We don't overrun the top. Like this stuff to me is why you lose football games. A lot of people point to, I don't like the scheme. I don't like the system. This to me is why we lose football games. And I'm saying we, but the collective, any game I've ever played, any game I watch, when you do stuff like this against good NFL players, you create the conditions for losing football. Breaks contain. Pitts on one of his 2 catches. So now we get to this is a 4th and 1. And I wrote leverage because if you look at this screen, and I didn't want to put up a million circles, but the outside receiver has leverage on anybody on defense. The inside receiver, I'm going from bottom to top now. The inside receiver has leverage on anybody on defense except for the corner. The tight end or fullback in the backfield that's standing over the right tackle has leverage on Devondre Campbell and is going to have leverage on Darnell Savage if he comes down, because it doesn't take as long for him to get to the line of scrimmage as it will Savage. So we could talk about the Green Bay Packers not defeating blocks, or they're set up to lose this, just in the way that the scheme designed by the Atlanta Falcons. This is a really good play. So Savage comes in like a missile right here. And he could come tighter or, but whatever. But he doesn't do anything wrong here. It's just they are outmanned. They are out leveraged. This is a very well designed play we didn't have an answer for.